Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with another 24/7 news report. If you've not been around for the last 24 hours, the transfer window, not just Everton, just the whole window has been nothing short of mind-blowing. Completely and utterly mind-blowing. I don't know how else to describe it. You've had Ronaldo going to City to then not going to City and to returning to United. It's just, Mbappe's constantly linked with Madrid. The whole window's just been manic, and it looks like it's certainly picking up for the Blues. We'll start with our headline news as we do as always, and the headline news is that Everton are looking to sign Porto winger Luis Diaz. There's a couple of, this story has transpired quite quickly throughout the day, as a lot of the stories have, because stuff just seems to be really picking up speed now. Like I said, you had Ronaldo going to City, and in 24 hours he's just signed for United as of when recording. So the transfer window's really picking up pace as we move into the last week of it, well, the last 4 or 5 days till Tuesday. This has come via TalkSport. Everton are closing in a £21.5 million deal for Porto winger Luis Diaz. James Rodriguez, however, must move in the opposite direction as part of the deal. Paul Joyce then also said that Everton are interested in Luis Diaz, and James Rodriguez would go on a season-long loan. And then at the end of that, his contract is supposedly up, so he'd leave on a free. Probably, maybe they would push for him. But that is certainly one to look at. Phil Kirkbride from the Echo also said the same thing, that James Rodriguez is being used as a paperweight, and then Fabrizio Romano said Luis Diaz is a real possibility for Everton. So this is quite a positive thing to see. I can't sit here and say I watch all the games he's played. I know a little bit about him. I know a couple of the lads on the channel quite like him. A couple who do the Spanish side of the channel, for the South Americans, they quite like the look of him. Apparently he's a really good hard-working winger, very good at finesse shots outside the box, known for scoring a couple of cracking goals. I also did my research on Who Scored, and Who Scored seemed to quite like him. They said that he's very good at cutting inside. He plays on the left, he can play cam, but he plays on the left. And apparently one of the lads said that he wasn't very good, maybe from the right wing. But I think we will be signing for the left wing, in all honesty. And hopefully that's not as a replacement for anybody, which we'll get onto later on. But yeah, he seems to be a very good player. Apparently he's hard working, which is what Benitez will like. He's a good dribbler, he holds on to the ball, good finishing and passing. His weaknesses apparently are aerial duels and crossing. Again, this is from Who Scored. I don't know that much about his crossing ability. That would be a little bit of a problem, because you'd like to think Benitez is going to continue with this direct football, get the ball in the mixer. But we'll have to wait and see. His style of play is likes to cut inside, doesn't dive into tackles, and commits fouls often. He's probably fouled he'll probably be fouled quite a bit as well in the Premier League, I imagine. But yeah, he's certainly one to look forward to. Obviously, there's a couple of players rumoured to be outgoing as well that I'm about to get onto. So I think Everton are really starting to pick up. I mentioned outgoing players, and I think we'll start with the obvious one, which is Richarlison. The rumours broke 2 days ago, and since then they've just sort of snowballed. So obviously you had the news that PSG are interested in signing Richarlison. They see him as the replacement for Mbappe. ESPN Brazil said that the Brazilians' representatives are already in Paris and are negotiating a potential deal, and Everton are said to be aware of the situation. JL Sanchez on Twitter 78 said that Neymar knows Kylian Mbappe is leaving and has been pushing for Richarlison. But then today, after all that, he said, she said, we had the news that Everton are supposedly looking, this is from UL El Sporty, Everton won 120 million for Richarlison, which is quite a lot of money. It's a good amount of money. It's double what we paid, more than double. It's very good. That's a very good deal. The only thing is that literally the window closes on Tuesday, and I don't want. The worst thing I have for the club is to sell him. Go, what do we do? we've got 120 million, and they scatter bomb it up the walls, just absolutely throw money at the walls, anything and everything, and we end up with a mismatch, a bit like that time when Koeman and co went out and brought 5 number 10s and just, too much in one window. But then we also had Rafa Benitez today in his press conference, who said we are not considering selling him, which came as good news. I know Richarlison has his lovers and still some doubters, and I know 120 million, a lot of you would be saying get that in, that would knock financial fair play and we could go big. But what you've got to remember is we've got 4 days left of the window, so realistically it would be a very panicky sort of thing. Also, the other one is, obviously I said that, certain media, ESPN has said his representatives are in Brazil, are in Paris. I don't think he will leave. I think the club will say it's just too much, too soon notice, you're not going. And I think Richarlison will honour what he said, which is he will stay another season, then evaluate his options. And then next season, if we don't progress how he likes, I can see him pushing for his move then. But I think he'll certainly stay, just because the club were very accommodating with him over his summer plans. He seems to like the club. He's always in his kits. He looks like a player that enjoys being here. I know people say he doesn't smile when he's on the pitch, but he does on his social media. His dog's wearing Everton tops. He seems to really appreciate the club and like the club. So I think personally he's going to stay another season. I think that'd be the right call. I think selling him now would just lead to an absolute disaster and a panic buying situation, which ultimately would probably end with us being laughed at, because we would spend 120 million like a kid with £1 in a sweet shop. We would just blurt it straight away. So, that's one to be careful of. We have some more outgoing news though, and this one might be a little bit more appeasing for some of you, and it is that Moyes could potentially be leaving Everton. Like I mentioned in the intro, if you haven't heard, Ronaldo is back in the Premier League. He's back at United. Apparently he was engineering a move for City. City, for whatever reason, have decided no. So then he's gone and told George Mendes that he'd like to go United as well if they put in a deal, and United were very happy to quickly snap that up. Which means the big one is Juventus are missing a main striker. And apparently they see Moyes Keane as his replacement. I think that means one for the future type replacement, not he's going to come in and score anywhere near the goals Ronaldo did, because that's just not going to happen. But David Ornstein put today, Juventus are working on a deal to sign Moyes Keane. The Italian is believed to be the top replacement for Ronaldo. The deal will be a permanent transfer or a loan deal with an obligation to buy, not a straight loan deal. We had Benitez saying as well, when asked about him and Rodriguez, that he doesn't know much and you have to wait for the next coming days and the situation will be clearer, which, obviously highlights that they could be on their way. But then, obviously, as news broke more and more throughout the day, we heard that potentially Moyes Keane now is going on a loan deal with an obligation to buy. I believe the fee was rumoured to be 25 million, 28, 29 euros, 25 million, which isn't, don't get me wrong, it's not great, but it's not bad. It's still a decent amount of money. Apparently, because it's an obligation to buy and the money would be there, we would have the freedom to move in the window as well, which is another positive. Maybe that's what we're getting the Diaz money with, and that's who Diaz would replace as an option, and hopefully not Richarlison, because I really don't think letting him go now would be a good idea. But I'd be very happy to see Moyes Keane go. I've been a big supporter of him in the way that I always hoped it'd work for him. It's just not. He's had a stinker here. He's scored goals in the cup competitions, but overall I don't think he can look back at his Everton career as a high for him. It's been quite a bad low. It'd be interesting to see what he does at Juventus. Will he go on to be this, amazing lad that clearly has the raw talent there? I can see that he's got the potential. I just don't think his heart's in it sometimes. Like for the first half of the Huddersfield game, before his goal was disallowed, fantastic. You could really see, why he's highly rated. Just wasn't to be. I think it's one of those ones where just two people aren't meant to match, and he doesn't suit us. It's one of those. I think he'll go to Juventus. I think he'll do okay. I can't see him being anywhere near peak as Ronaldo, but then I don't see, unless like maybe Haaland or an Mbappe. But I don't, even then, I think they will just fall short of the statures of Ronaldo's and Messi's. We really are lucky to see them in our lifetime. But it does mean it's good news for the Blues. It means we could spend a little bit more money and shop around a little bit more. I do have some more news for you as well. This is coming from The Guardian. Everton are eyeing Neil Mulpi as the potential replacement for Richarlison. I like Brighton, and I've said on the channel I really like Brighton. I buy into Potter Ball. I buy into Graham Potter as a manager. And the only thing that puts me off this is Neil Mulpi. Last season, many people, myself included, were looking at Brighton's XG and we'd go, if they had a good striker, they would be a lot higher in the table. And Mulpi played up front for them. So I'm not keen on getting a striker that I've spent, and many others have spent the last season going, if that team had got a proper striker, they would be this many points. That's not the best review for Mulpi. I know he had a really good run at Brentford, and Brentford's recruitment's really clever, and I think Brighton was sort of hoping he'd carry that on. He's okay, he's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's rubbish, I just don't think he's amazing either. I think he's just an okay player. Got a bit of an attitude problem as well, which isn't going to go down well with fans. There have been times where he's let his head rule his emotions rule him and his heart rule his head, and he's been sent off for silly. I think it was against Arsenal. He got sent off because he just couldn't keep this shut. So he's a type of player I'd want to steer clear of. I'd rather go for someone a bit more hungry, of a bit more of a positive attitude. But that's just me. You guys might disagree. We also have the news that Rafa Benitez wants to sign Weston McKennie. Juventus are looking to offload the US international, and according to Gazzetta dello Sport, Blues boss Benitez wants to bring McKennie to Goodison before next week's deadline. It's also claimed Tottenham, Villa, Crystal Palace and West Ham are also in the race to sign the former Schalke midfielder. I'd really like McKennie. I think he's a really good player. He can play as your ball winner, but he can also play as your ball carrier, and I think that's what we'd rather use him as, a ball carrier. I really like this. If we can get this done, I'd be a really, really happy boy. But it's yet to be seen. We'll have to wait and see on that one. There is also news that we are after Daniel Jebison. We are looking, apparently according to the Echo, we are going to put in a second bid in the hope to getting him. If the name sounds familiar to you and you go, where have I heard that before? He was the young debutant that scored against us at Sheffield when Sheffield came to Goodison Park last year. I don't know if that's why the club are going to sign him or not. I don't know how often he actually plays for Sheffield United now, but that's who he is, so the name sounds familiar, that's why. I don't know enough about him to completely write him off. I've only seen him play one game and he scored, so, but to be fair, we were really poor that game. And, just if you made your debut and score against Everton, it's written in the stars, isn't it? Especially last season with our home form towards the end. But that is all I've got time for today. I'm sure I'll be back with plenty more because this window is absolutely mental. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below as well on anything I've discussed today. Do you think Moyes Keane to Juventus is a good deal? Would you like Weston McKennie? Would you like Jebison? Have you seen much of Diaz play? Do you like him? What's he like? Do you think he'll suit us at the Blues? Would you take Mulpi? Do you think I've got it all wrong about him? Or do you think, let me know down below. And just let me know what you think about, is Richarlison 120 million? Should we sell? Should we keep him? Let me know all of them. There's plenty for you to get involved with in the comments, and we do like reading them. This window's mental. But yeah, don't forget, subscribe, comment, share, and most importantly, stay safe. Just on one more extra note, if you haven't got your Everton merchandise this season, aka your kits, your boots, your shinnies, your bears that have the Everton logo on, your bottle openers, they sell all sorts on there, your training kits, you can get them from Everton Direct. There's a link in the description down below. If you just use the link, it just helps the channel out massively, and if you're already going to buy your Everton kits anyway, if you do it that way, you're not only putting money into the club, but you're also helping us out, and that's massively appreciated. But stay safe, guys, and I will be back very soon.